What should have been the next video of the SmackDown 2011 montage is now turned into a response video to Cloud8745's top 10 PS3 games. Mainly because, well, PS3 fanboys can't seem to fathom the fact that not everyone should have Metal Gear Solid 4 on their playlist. Anyways, why am I showing my background on my PS3 and why am I showing myself logging into PlayStation Network? I never do that. Well, felt like being unorthodox. Whatever. Anyways, we have a montage. Countdown. Engage! Number 10. Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. Not what you expect to start off a top 10 PS3 games countdown, but hey, I want to be different. Is that too much to ask? I never was a big Sega fan back in the day, since I was more pro Nintendo, so the PS2 knocked me out of that. So this compilation of over 40 Genesis games in high definition, because we must please the HD whores, ranging from Sonic's 1 to 3, Victor Man 1 and 2, Streets of Rage 1, 2, 3, and many other classes like Altered Beast and Shinobi, was an all new experience for me. This is definitely a Sega fanboy's wet dream come true, and a must buy for anybody on the PS3 or 360 who loved the Sega Genesis back in the day when Sonic was kicking Mario's ass, and didn't own the other compilations that were released on other consoles like the GameCube and PS2. But in all honesty, Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, a pretty good set of games that they have on here. I recommend you must try these out, especially if you're into retro gaming. Number 9. 3D Game Heroes, made by the same developers that did Demon's Souls. Ain't that amazing? 3D Game Heroes is a massive dose of nostalgia for anyone who grew up in the 80s and 90s of gaming, especially if you loved games like these or Legend of Zelda. And this is exactly what they were going for when they made this wonderful game, now did they? And if the gameplay or presentation weren't enough for you, it throws plenty of references from past NES titles like Mario, Mega Man, Legend of Zelda, again, Castlevania, Final Fantasy, and even the occasional joke about Demon's Souls and its extremely hard difficulty. 3D Game Heroes is not a well-known game to a lot of people, for obvious reasons. But whilst it does not have what most new-gen games have, like story, HD graphics, which don't make the game, people! It makes up for all that with fun, until you reach the Fire Temple, then it doesn't become fun anymore, at least from my experience. But much like Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, if you like retro games or throwbacks to it, give this game a try, you won't be disappointed. Number 8. Modnation Racers. The best way to describe this game is simple really. Mario Kart and Little Big Planet having sex, and one of them, well, someone has to be the woman in this relationship, giving birth to their bastard child. Modnation Racers, ladies and gentlemen. This and Mario Kart are the only racers I can play and never get tired of them, since hardcore simulation racers like Gran Turismo are kind of boring in my opinion. I think I hurt a few feelings with that one, but whatever! While you're not burning rubber online with the many PS3 users that are a part of the Modnation community, the create and share slogan of Little Big Planet come into play here, allowing you to modify your driver to anything that your imagination can come up with, or pimp your ride and show it off to your friends. If you have any. Nah, I'm kidding. Like all racing games, it has a career mode which I enjoy, but the difficulty of getting through it may turn a few people off. It can get hectic, especially in races where you have to win to advance and the AI screws you over. I don't know how I completed my career mode and finished all my races in first place, but I did. It was not fun. It was painful. Very painful. Anyways, Modnation Racers is a game that will be here to stay as long as the online community stays hot and people continue to upload their creations. That, and they don't make a sequel which this game does not need, like Little Big Planet. I'll get to that later. Number 7 is going to piss a lot of people off, and I'm actually looking forward to that too. Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Yep, that's right. Everyone's beloved Uncharted 2 is not on my countdown, and rightfully so. People are probably wondering why I don't have Uncharted 2 on here? Cause it's overrated. So deal. The reason why the first game is on here is because I love the story of the first game more than I did with the second. Plus the supporting cast were a lot better. I loved Eddie Raja, he was awesome. Flynn was generic and boring. Elena was annoying in the first game, I'm not gonna lie, but she grew on me, as well as in the second game. Chloe was a skank. Nothing more, nothing less. The only person in Uncharted 2 that I really did like was Lazarovich. And that's kinda bad when the antagonist is outdoing the supporting cast. Another thing that I liked about Uncharted 1 was how the ending portion of the game had you fighting a bunch of Spanish zombies. That caught a lot of people off guard, sure did caught me off guard when I first got there. As opposed to those damn purple people from the second game. God, I hated them. In a gaming era where the PS3 at one time did not have a lot of great eye-popping exclusives, Uncharted was one of a kind, and is one of the few games that I have that I played all the way to 100%. It's not top 5 material unfortunately, and I would prefer Uncharted 1 over Uncharted 2 any day of the week. Even though I like Uncharted 2 myself, but it's overrated like I said. You fanboys have a problem with that? I got news for you. Deal! Number 6. Ratchet and Clank Future, A Crack in Time. I personally like platformers, mostly of the 2D variety, and I enjoy the Ratchet and Clank series. I liked cool Tools of Destruction. Quest for Booty was a cool concept, but the game was too short sadly since it was on PlayStation Network. Insomniac Games pretty much took the gameplay tweaks from the Future Saga and gave us A Crack in Time, one of the best 3D platformers out there that's not named Mario. What is there to not like in this game? You hop from peril to peril, the usual platforming stuff. You shoot enemies with a variety of weapons, both standard and completely over the top. Fly through the vastness of space, literally, to move from planet to planet. Solve well-crafted time-based puzzles which are down Crank's alley, and even take on an old nemesis from the PS2 days. Combine the witty humor that the series is known for and an epic look back into Ratchet and Clank's background, and you got yourself a really good game on your hands. I would really recommend playing A Crack in Time if you have a PS3, or all the games from the Ratchet and Clank series if you have a PS2 and 3. Believe me, it's well worth it to play the Ratchet and Clank series. Number 5. Little Big Planet, the first one. This game has a lot of meaning for me since this was the game that made me want a PS2 in the first place when I got it back in 2009. A charming 2D platformer at heart with powerful creation tools to create your own character, levels, music, or whatever else you have in mind while uploading your creations online in a massive community for the entire world to see. Or they can download the same levels that you made and play them for themselves. You see, Little Big Planet is a great game. Very, very, very great game. No matter what people say, because this game takes you back to a time where having fun while playing the game meant a hell of a lot more than all I need is this last achievement to get the platinum. You know what I mean? Of course you know what I mean. Also with 4-player multiplayer, both offline and online, anyone and their grandmother could join in the fun. If there ever was a game that defied having to buy a console for it, it's Little Big Planet, and not a certain game that I refuse to mention. You have a PS3? Buy or rent this game. If you enjoy it, you may like the sequel, Little Big Planet 2, even though I believe that the first one did not need a sequel. But hey, who am I to judge? Number 4. Vanquish. You want to talk about a great game that not many people have played? Look no further than this little gem that amazingly came from the same people, Platinum Games, that gave us both Bayonetta and Godhand. Simply consider Gears of War the Bullet Hell Edition. You shoot, run, melee, and dodge your way through an evil horde of Russian robots, big and small, and on most occasions very big, while several hundred bullets fill the screen at one time. The enemy AI in this game is rather intelligent and also hiding behind cover, and the many bosses you'll encounter will have enough firepower to blow you and the object you're hiding behind out of the sky if you stay there too long. This game usually punishes you for staying in cover for too long, and it is one pretty tough game, even on normal. Luckily, Vanquish makes up for this, along with the awesome shooting abilities, with its uniqueness. Like the dashing ability that calls you to go from cover to cover when things get too hectic, and a special slowdown technique for more stylish kills, which gets even better when you combine the two. Go on, you want this game, I know you do. hours of fun, is sadly very short, 7-8 hours tops, and completing the game usually unlocks a challenge for you to take on, which can be very hectic in itself. So if you're the type of person that really loves a good game, no matter how long or how short it is, no matter how absurd it can be at times, do yourself a favor along with Platinum Games. Buy Vanquish now! Please! You will not be disappointed from what you're about to encounter. Just get this game ASAP. Number 3. Dead Space. I haven't played Dead Space 2 yet, so it's not on the list, unfortunately. In any event, this is what Resident Evil 4 and 5 should have been like, in my opinion. Showing off the over-the-shoulder aiming mechanism that came from 4, while providing the oh-so-famous scare the living daylights out of you that made the classics on the PlayStation 1 so popular. Well, still, Resident Evil 4 is still a great game, it just did not feel like the traditional Resident Evil 4 game. And 5, I'd like to pretend doesn't exist. Dead Space really makes you feel like you truly are in a desperate fight for survival as you try to find your way off of what once was a populated colony on board now a deserted mothership in the middle of space fighting off hordes of aliens that would make any grown man go, who the hell would think of such monstrosities? No matter how many times I've played and beaten Dead Space and know what will happen afterwards, the game usually finds a way to still scare me, just like past survival horror games as well. Dead Space will haunt your nightmares and have you begging for more as the game credits roll. Such an amazing feat for an amazing game, which is why Dead Space is ranked number 3 on my top 10 PlayStation 3 games countdown. Numbers 2 and 1 are tied, and seeing as how this is a PlayStation 3 countdown, I think a Sony exclusive should be number 1. So what is number 2 on my list, you may wonder? Batman Arkham Asylum, which is currently my most overplayed game on the George Foreman grill of new generation gaming consoles. Rocksteady Games did a great job in making you feel like you truly are Batman, whilst keeping the game balanced and not feeling overpowered during the long run as you venture through the dark, gloomy, and famous Arkham Asylum, which is home to many of Batman's greatest villains like Mr. Penguin, Freeze, Ra's al Ghul, among others, who only make appearances sadly in Riddler trophies. Gameplay is broken into two ways: free flow, which has you beating the crap out of many enemies with your fists, feet, gadgets, and various takedowns that will make you cringe, and Predator, which is right down Batman's alley, as he takes down a whole room filled with gun-wielding maniacs and watches from the shadow as they slowly and surely lose their confidence and drift into a nervous breakdown once they realize that their numbers are slowly dwindling. Is Batman Arkham Asylum the best game ever from the Cape Crusader? Depends. Have you played other games before you heard of Arkham Asylum? That's the question now, is it? The other question you are wondering is this game worth a buy? You damn right! The story is lengthy, the 16 challenges that await you as you unlock them will surely keep you occupied, and hearing Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill continue their roles as Batman and Joker from the 90s cartoon is a nice little boost. I would really recommend you play Batman Arkham Asylum. And then you can also wait for Arkham City to come out, which I am hoping turns out to be very, very, very good as well. And now, number 1. Infamous. Funny story I got about this game. I bought this and Arkham Asylum together in 2009. Whilst I overplayed Arkham Asylum, Infamous sadly was left on the sidelines and I eventually sold this. I rebought the game afterwards for free since the PSN had all those times back just to finish my old run. And after finishing it, I felt like kicking myself in the nuts for selling the disc, because Infamous is one hell of a game and a fun experience on top of it. I mean, think about it. The game itself is unique with the whole karma moments and tracking your progress along with every action you take, on whether you fight for the greater good to be a hero at the end of it all, or just go, I got powers, don't mess with me, and be evil to the core, which is a lot more fun in my opinion. Going through the main story of the game itself, whilst leaving out the information and other optional stuff, is about 12 to 14 hours tops. And quite frankly, Infamous is not that hard to beat on your first try, no matter which karma you have, or difficulty for that matter. Until you reach the historic district, where no one wants to die, and collecting those blast shards may cause you to break out that animal state. But with a huge sandbox environment, extra missions to complete, enough enemies to take them down whilst your powers increase along with theirs, a well-crafted and deeply driven story, and an ending which guaranteed that a sequel was in the making, which I would also like to play in the near future, Infamous is truly one hell of a game. Hence the reason why I consider Infamous to be my #1 game on PS3. Infamous 2 also was great, but I doubt it would be able to match the awesomeness of Infamous 1. And there you go. Those are my top 10 PlayStation 3 games. Would I be doing another one of these? Maybe, but I just want to finish my montage as quickly as I can. So in the meanwhile, bye. I'll see you guys later.